Hey everyone, Foxy here, and welcome to my brand new Space in Progress. We've had a bit of a wild time over the last 5 months or so. I've got like 2/5 of a Fox Tales episode in the can, and I was desperately trying to pull together while my Demoviction situation became critically perilous. I made the decision to halt production and make a move, acting a month early on the backup housing that I had arranged, hence the new digs. This all turned out to be particularly fortuitous in light of the current emergency, however. My work closed indefinitely as of Monday. And good news, today the Canadian government actually announced $2,000 a month per person for up to 4 months, and I qualify, so yes, and I also qualify for EI, so yes. Things will be okay financially. I'll be here a lot more, which is fantastic. I have good support locally from friends and family, with housemates upstairs as well. I went into isolation mode last week on Thursday and did deep clean of all the surfaces, entrances, and high-risk objects in my new place. With any luck, I'll manage to skip the whole sick thing and stay healthy and help out where I can. So I'm now stuck at home with my kitty cat, a mountain of projects, and idle hands. This produces some unique challenges and opportunities. What the Rat Park experiment teaches us about social isolation. I fully expected to be bringing up the story of Rat Park, Bruce K. Alexander's groundbreaking research into the behavioral roots of addiction and dependency, when talking to you about the scourge that is the war on drugs. And here we are. Content warning for animals in cages and mental health stuff. Quarantine things. You should really check out the research itself over on his website, link below, because it's fascinating stuff. The Rat Park experiment is the result of Alexander finding Skinner box behavioral experiments to be insufficient for explaining models of addiction. The Skinner box, or operant conditioning chamber, was pioneered by B.F. Skinner, a man who believed that human behavior could be invisibly engineered if enough information could be compiled. In a Skinner box, pictured here in a super sciencey lab, a rat is put in a tiny cell and given a neutral stimulus and a reward stimulus for pressing on specific levers. Using this method, we can find out, for example, how long it takes for a rat to learn, or be conditioned to respond to, a light turning on to signal a treat available at the treat lever. When researchers inevitably decided to study the effects of addictive substances using an operant conditioning chamber, they discovered that, sure enough, rats really loved to hit themselves with whatever drug they had access to. Cocaine, heroin, amphetamines. These rodents were tweaking harder than a white girl at Coachella. Just kidding, I'd never been to Coachella. And fair enough. If I were locked in a tiny cage with virtually no stimuli other than food pellets and water to break the monotony, I would be mainlining that shit so hard it'd make your head spin. This was Bruce Alexander's revolutionary realization that gave birth to Rat Park. When the rats were removed from their cages and placed into an environment that optimized for rodent health and wellness, including play, social activity, and sex, their rampant desire to pump themselves full of narcotics also disappeared. That's not to say that the rats just stopped getting high, because the rats still liked to get high. They just did so with significantly less frequency and signs of addiction or developing dependency. Good. This is borne out in our observations of the behavior of imprisoned humans as well. Inmates are notoriously creative at finding ways to get altered, from toilet hooch to drug mules. Some of the stories I've heard from my less savory acquaintances are so fucked up that the producers of HBO's Oz would have cut them for being too graphic. Oh. Oof. So, what can the Rat Park experiment teach us about social isolation and what to do about it? Now that most of us are bound to our homes for the foreseeable future, intimately surrounded by the virtues and vices of our lifestyles, how do we avoid falling into a despair of madly power leveling in forgotten RPGs until 4 a.m., skipping meals and deciding that, yeah, you know, it's fine to wait 3 days between showers? No matter how bravely we approach isolation and emergencies, or how well prepared we think we are with plans and projects, the monotony of these four walls will still begin to wear. The desire to keep pressing the happy lever, or worse, the information lever, is strong. I know it well. The structure of our world has been established by forces that have learned to use Skinner's research to modify real human behavior in the service of capital. Shoshana Zuboff, in a book called The Age of Surveillance Capitalism, which I'm sure I'll be referencing quite frequently in the future, discusses Skinner's influence on the thinking of major data corporations and the guarantee of profits through behavioral science. If you want to get a glimpse of how this might be affecting you, Jim Sterling has done some fantastic work on loot box gambling and other predatory game mechanics in a couple of his videos, linked here. And Ollie at PhilosophyTube also did a fantastic job outlining some of the issues with this manipulation in his video, Data. Suffice it to say, whomever programs your isolation experience is going to heavily influence your quality of life through this crisis. Is it going to be yourself, your friends, and your comrades? Or corporate overlords and colonial oligarchs who profit from our despair and alienation? The only way through this is to take another lesson from Rat Park. We still need healthy, unmediated socialization and play to be happy beings. Now is the time to collaborate and communicate, to plant and plan, to lay the groundwork for the future, to show each other the true strength of the human spirit, to reach across the boundaries, to lift one another in support. Never before has humanity had the opportunity to maintain these bonds at such a distance. Call your loved ones, teach each other stuff, share skills, set up a homebrew RPG over a Discord server. I don't know. Get hella skanky in DMs, you lovelies. Check in on each other. I'm going to spend every day I'm not sick reaching out in any way I can, and I hope that you can do the same. Much love, my rodents. I'll be back very soon. Foxy, out.